the representative of Canon camera that we have always admired. We used to have Kodak as one of them those days, the black one, you remember. But Canon really has grown to be an admired type in my time, and until right now we're seeing it really. It's almost overshadowing every other brand around. The library, Kenya Library Services, the Kenya Society for the Blind, led by my brother, and our keynote speaker today, I felt he has really given a very elaborated thoughts about this day. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, is it morning or afternoon? Good morning. Right. It gives me a great pleasure to join you today. On this day, when I was entering there, the lady who briefed us told me, you have to tell us why you are here. And I must say that before I give some few remarks about it. I accepted the invitation because of two things, three in fact. Number one, it is the international nature of this day that we are celebrating, the International Day for Persons with Disability. And here in Kenya, we were celebrating a few days ago 20 years of appreciating the Act of Parliament to appreciate the movements in history of disability agenda in this country. We enacted the first act reflecting on the international provisions 2003, and we were celebrating accessibility by law. And so that's the first reason. I'm sure I'm answering my lady. The second one, why I'm here, is because the Kenya Society for the Blind were the first organized groups to make the agenda of persons with disability just before independence and immediately after. They became the first one to demonstrate, to go into the street and occasion the enactment of the law for the first time. So I recognize it's a long-standing group in this country that has made the agenda for disability. I have come to celebrate this day with you on behalf of every other sector in the country and on behalf of KEDIPA, which is a caucus in Parliament, lobbying for every interest of persons living with disability in our Parliament. Final one is that the theme of this year's International Day is a very interesting one. Amplifying leadership. Amplifying the leadership of persons with disabilities for an inclusive and sustainable future. What a day when Canon as a brand is becoming more innovative and inclusive in its operation and intention for business in the world, and think of a group of people who are affected by disability or in a special way, and you include them in your program and in your innovation and creativity. I wanted to come because of that. I was motivated by one character that I want to share with you. I have read about her. It's none other than Helen Keller. I think it baffles human understanding. I am physically challenged, but I think I can make an excuse. But about Kayla, interesting. She was both blind and deaf. Just after 19 months when she was born, what amazes me, she was able to live almost a century. She rested at the age of 88. Kayla became a leader in her time. Nothing prevented her from becoming one of the contributing factors in the movement that affected positively the interest of persons living with disability. She became an agitator and a leader in the rights for women and other liberties. Interestingly, she became the first person in that disability to get a bachelor's degree in one of the very prestigious universities in America, the Harvard University. Interesting. She made very outstanding contribution. What a better way to celebrate this day with you, Canon, coming to us and encouraging us that we can make it. We can do, we can be part of what the world is. We are celebrating this day in this country, and you're bringing us these good tidings and great messages when we are celebrating several other milestones that through the efforts of those who came earlier than us, we joined in. We became the consumers of what they really contributed in. We are celebrating, one, the appreciation by law that people living with disabilities have a right to be part of what the society is. And there is no better way to protect your right except by law, because the law makes sure that we are all equal. We come from a background of fatalism, where in our traditions and customs, we somehow thought that disability is a right of certain people due to historical reasons, hereditary reasons, and that it was the will of the ancestors or the gods, for those who believe in God. And they say it was meant to be. And I wish to say this: disability agenda does not belong to a people exclusively called disabled. Disability agenda is an agenda for all humanity, because disability is a possibility of everyone. I wish to repeat that the disability agenda is not an exclusive agenda for a people called disabled. It is a disability of all mankind, because disability is a possibility for all of us. It's a possibility, and God forbid, I'm not praying that you come where I am. But it can happen. Can you imagine Kayla was born like any other child in Alabama? The family was rejoicing, and I'm sure as they were celebrating the first birthday, she was a vibrant child. At 19 months, she got sick, and that changed her life. I was born normal in a family of 12. At the age of 5, I suffered polio. For those of you who remember, is that between 1945 and 1965, there was an outbreak of polio all over the world after World War II. My father was one of the veterans. They were in the World War II. And I happened to be born within that bracket. I was able to walk on my 2 feet and a very vibrant child. In fact, my late mothers used to think that I was the most handsome child amongst our children. But I could not enjoy that handsomeness long until when I was 5, I suffered that. So you can see my life was interrupted. I had to stay in the village, did not go to school until when I was 20. I started primary 1. Again, according to our system, I wrote my primary certificate when I was 27 years. And then I had to go all the way to university and live my life like anybody else. I want to say disability is not an agenda exclusive. It is an agenda for all of us, for humanity. It is an inclusive agenda. And therefore, the reason why we must make laws that protects and make sure that people and persons living with disability must be given an opportunity is because it is human rights. It's a right for all humanity. Because of that, we are celebrating in this country that we not only recognize that we need to do that, but we have passed the law. You know, any law is not really complete and sufficient. It has to grow. We are now doing an amendment on that law to reflect on the realities, best practices, and to be more inclusive, because there are other unseen, let me borrow your theme today, there are other unseen disabilities that has never been recognized before, and we are beginning to realize them amongst children growing right now. Autism, there is another one, dyslexia, there is another one, they are very interesting terms. I'm still learning to pronounce them and so on. We want the law to appreciate all that. The other thing is that the law is under review in Kenya, and it is before Parliament. It has gone through many stages. It has been, we want to make sure that by 2025, before we begin the politics of 2027, you know, when that time comes, priority of the spirit of the moment comes, and this can be overshadowed. So we want to make sure we're working very hard as Kedipa on your behalf to make sure that that law, it also would like to appreciate the other laws and make sure that it includes and make it possible for all of us to enjoy those rights as given by the law. The second thing that has attracted our attention is accessibility. It's an issue in terms of infrastructure, in terms of transport, in terms of health facilities, in terms of educational environment, in terms of recognizing in terms of rights issue and others. And we're working very hard that not only are we going to amend the law or review the law, but we will also go and do and make sure that subsidiary laws that interpret the same law, make it relevant, interpretable, and can be understood, is also made available. So soon, Waweru, we are going to have you participate in what is common in Kenya today as public participation. You know how many laws that have been So when you hear about that, please you make your comments, contribute, and so on. I wish to conclude by saying that I wish to appreciate all the partners, members of international community, for their goodwill, for their appreciation, and contribution, giving us resources on the continent of Africa. On behalf of all consumers of your support, I want to say thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I want to thank the members of the press. Please make it known. Make it known. We are making good progress. We are not yet there. Even the countries that really are ahead of us, about 40, 50 years, they still have a lot to do. As I traveled, like the other day, I came from Australia, and I had some complication at the airport. And but then the good thing is they are quick to respond to it and really take responsibility. We still have some difficulty in our part of the world. We are almost exercising what is called bureaucratic discrimination. You know, bureaucratic discrimination means it is a silent way of using law to deny you your right. They call it disentitlement. So they say, if you think you can access the Kenya Library Service premises, then why should you come? I went for a national celebration the other day, and as a member of parliament, we have a VIB area where we must sit along with the executive and so on, and I could not access the stadium, I mean the sitting area. And because I have an agenda and I have a mission, so I use that now to dramatize the situation. And I could hear some people in authority saying, protocol saying, if you knew you cannot access here, why did you have to come? I said, because I needed to come. So that the next time you are able to do so. Now the stadiums in Kenya are working very hard. In fact, they have improved Nyayo Stadium, and they have created a facility up there. So we will be, in fact, higher than everybody else. So the accessibility agenda is we are trying to make it more. What I want to encourage all the organizations, CBOs, and registered organizations, representatives, I want to encourage you to work as a team. Avoid operating in silos. Working together, you will be heard and your agenda can move faster. If you have a common agenda, why not work together? You can form, usually, we have so many fragmented umbrellas representing persons with disability. Sometimes you end up doing disservice to your campaign. I want to encourage you from the leadership point of view that work together. You may have attention because every disability has its own special attention details, but again, work together. Let's be together and we will help. We will work together, we'll join you, we'll make sure that your agenda is hard. So don't tire. You end up being our chief guest because you've really given us so much hope about what's happening. And now I finally came here. The lady was saying, tell us why you came. I wanted to know how photography will participate, especially on this kind of disability. What is it? That's what I'm coming to check on. It must be interesting, and I tell you, I'm so excited. I think I'm elated to be here. Thank you, our friends. Thank you for those who are coming from far and near. Thank you so much. Thank you, gracious lady, for, I can see you are so nostalgic about the the project that you have.
Of course.
Wow. So we are here to join you, and please infect us with us. With those few and much remarks, thank you very much, and may God bless you.